Hello, welcome to Now Tell Us. This is where we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and educate us, they come and inspire us, they come and tell us of a cause that is of deep interest to them and is an inspiration to us or anything that it can entertain us. And so today, like every other day, we have a special guest who is going to tell us something that I saw. I don't know, but we are going to learn together. It's known as shadow beliefs and unconscious commitments. And our special guest knows much about that, so she's going to tell us about that. But before we go there, I would like to remind you that if you'd like to see past episodes and feature episodes of Now Tell Us, go to nowtellus.com and you'll find them there. You can listen to them on all your favorite podcast platforms, Audible, Spotify, um, Google Podcasts, iTunes, name them. And remember to share them with your friends. And by the way, she's coming to tell us, but we also want you to tell us. So if you have a question, tell us. If there is something that you have seen and you'd like to comment about it, just tell us. Now tell us. And now let's go and meet our guest today together. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Hello, Nancy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. Thanks for
Our
asking.
guest, yes, our guest today is known as Nancy Pickard. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's such an honor to have you here with us, and we appreciate you taking your time. And we believe that we are going to have a great time here together.
Great.
Yes, I just wanted to get your name correct. Now I got it correct. So, where are you, Nancy?
Right now I'm in Southern Cal or Northern California.
Yes, and is that where you were born and grew up?
No, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and I actually live most of the time in Aspen, Colorado, but I live part-time in Northern California.
Oh, wow, that's quite a uh,
Yes.
how
Lots of
how
time.
far is that? Because some of us go very far from where we are born to live. And what caused you to move?
Oh, well, I left Buffalo when I got married at 21 and lived in Long Island and New Jersey. And then fast forward 26 years later, when I got divorced, I moved to Colorado. And now my partner lives in California and I live in Colorado. So we split our time back and forth depending on the season, because in Colorado, I want to be there in the summer and the winter and the fall. And then
Hmm.
the off seasons were in California.
Okay,
Now you
very
have
good.
it all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I saw something and I was curious and I wanted to know. And together with my viewers and those who are listening to us, we would be very glad to get to know it from you because you have an experience in that. Shadow beliefs and unconscious commitments, what are they?
So, shadow beliefs and unconscious commitments are both in our subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And shadow beliefs were developed early on in life, usually before the age of 10. There was an emotional event or events that happened. And without our even being aware of it in our conscious mind, we made a meaning about it. You know, we're meaning making machines and we like to evaluate and judge and just categorize everything. And so something happens, we don't really understand it, but we give it a meaning, and that meaning is buried in our subconscious, but it actually rules our operating system. So, for example, an example of a shadow belief of my own is that when I was 5 years old, I was playing with a big lighter and I put my body on fire and I ended up in the hospital for a week. But I never got punished because my parents were just happy I was alive and I don't have any scars on my body. So, in the big picture, in my conscious mind, I never really gave it any mind. It was something that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 40 some odd years later, I get into a car accident, which is again the next time that I almost died. And I ended up with PTSD. And I was working with a shadow coach, and we did a session around this accident, and that there was something in my subconscious that wanted to tell me something. And it was this little girl, 5 years old, who wanted me to know I wasn't safe alone.
Mm-hmm.
That was the belief that I made at 5 years old. I was not aware of it, but that belief was made to keep me safe. I was not safe alone. I had just finished putting myself on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent my whole life never being alone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my unconscious commitment to keep that belief alive was to not be alone,
Mm-hmm.
which meant that I would twist myself up in a pretzel to be digestible to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I was a people pleaser, a conflict avoider, an overgiver, because that kept me safe and it kept my belief and my commitment alive.
Okay.
So, shadow beliefs sound like this: I'm broken. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. I need to be quiet so no one will know I'm stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to be perfect so I will be loved. I need to control everything so I will be safe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good with money. Spiritual people don't care about money. I mean, on and on and on. My needs don't matter. So it depends on how you were brought up. You could be the fifth kid in a family and nobody ever asked your opinion because they were much older than you. Nobody needed your opinion. And you grow up believing my voice doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have grown up with a, angry, violent parent and you learn to stay quiet to stay safe. So all of these beliefs kept us safe as children, but as an adult, they keep us stuck. They keep us
Mm-hmm.
small.
Mm-hmm.
They keep us being able to make ourselves a priority or set healthy boundaries or move forward in our careers, all depending on what these beliefs are. So if you want to know what your unconscious commitments are, you can ask yourself, will I say I want X, but what I'm actually experiencing is Y? So I say I want to be in a committed relationship, but what I'm experiencing is breaking up with everyone before they break up with me,
Mm-hmm.
or bottom feeding. And because I think I'm unworthy, I date unworthy people,
Mm-hmm.
or I date people I'll never get who make me feel unworthy. So it's all wound up together. And until you uncover those beliefs and those commitments, you will just same as more the more. You'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again, attracting the same people and situations into your life that fight for your limitations. Your
Mm-hmm.
ego wants to be right. It wants what it knows. If it thinks you're unworthy, it wants to prove to you over and over again how unworthy you really are.
Mm. You stay there. You stay believing in those
Mhm.
beliefs that are not. They could not be the. I mean, mostly they are not the true of whom you are,
Not
and
anymore. It's
you want
yeah,
to hang there.
yeah.
Okay. Now, as I know, you are a best-selling author, so and many other things that you may have accomplished along the way, which we are going to find out as we are moving on. So, how did you overcome, or do we have to overcome those shadow beliefs? And if so, how do we overcome them or grow out of them?
Well, you have to uncover them. So you've got to work with a shadow coach. You can buy my book. I've got exercises in there on how to do it. You can start to ask yourself, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I say I want. You can start to try to unravel it yourself. I definitely think getting yourself a coach is the best way to help you uncover it. You don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't see what you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that is what you have to do. Once you bring it out of the subconscious into the conscious mind, number one, it loses a lot of its power because it's no longer, it's out, right? You've outed
Mm-hmm.
it, see what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And now, as an adult, as a wise adult, you can say, oh, wow, I see where that was formed. I see how it kept me safe as a child, but I really see what it's costing me now.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you give yourself a new empowering belief that supports the vision and goals that you have for yourself. And then you can do things to try to change the neurons, the information. So you change instead of thinking you're on, you get to say, no, I am worthy. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, do affirmations, and I'm going to tell it to myself every day, and do mirror talk or tapping or any of the things that will help you bring that new empowering belief and sort of brand it into your brain. Make a
Mm-hmm.
new neural pathway over and over and over again that will support you instead of the one that no longer supports you.
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Let me thank all those who are watching us and viewing us. We have Osman Rumi, who says he's watching all the way from Bangladesh. And
Wow.
we are international. I know many people are watching from different areas. So if you're there, you can comment, and we'll appreciate you. But we keep going. And I thank you for that insight, because you tell us that we need someone who is going to identify that in us, those shadow beliefs, because we may not identify them our own. And I come to imagine of it, it's like a disease that you have, which you cannot diagnose by yourself. So you've got to go to a doctor to tell you what it is about. So I go to someone like you, and you're a coach, and then you reveal those shadow beliefs that are in me, and help me to bring them out, or and then overcome them or outgrow them. Now, how do you work with people now, like, we are at a distance, you're in the US, I'm in Europe, and someone is in Bangladesh. How do you work with people?
Just like we're doing right now. I do it on
Uh-huh.
Zoom.
Mhm.
I do it on Zoom.
And about the exercises, is it you plan it you have a schedule that you're going to do it on a weekly basis, monthly, on, and how long does it take? For example, if I have a belief like the one that you told me, and I have to overcome it, first I bring it out, and then I have to overcome it at some point, or outgrow it, how long does that take?
Well, the moment you bring it out of the subconscious into the conscious mind, you're already starting to make the change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always a one and done, but you're aware of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you see it coming, when something happens and you're like, "Oh, there it is again," right? There's my I'm not good enough, or there's my voice doesn't matter. Now you can actually do things to prove to you that you do matter. So
Mm-hmm.
like when my belief was I wasn't safe alone, I started to go out to dinner alone. I went to Thailand alone. I went to Vietnam alone. I went and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. I did all these things to prove to myself that I could do these things alone.
Yeah.
So I took an active part in changing my belief and then reinforcing it over and over again by doing these things. And that's what
Mm.
I have my clients do. So we uncover it, then they come up with action steps on a weekly basis to keep reinforcing the new belief.
But I have to remember that there is that fear. I mean, you say coming, bringing them out, and working. There is fear, and I know you deal with fear. How do we deal with it? The fear of just starting, the fear of overcoming, the fear of exposing myself of yeah. How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, you have to it's good to diagnose what your fear is all about. Like, do you have
Mm-hmm.
fear of success? Do you have fear of failure? Do you have fear of looking stupid? Do you have fear of being alone? Do you have fear of speaking out? Like, diagnose what your fear is if you can. But then
Mm-hmm.
I use fear as a driving force for change. If I'm
Okay.
afraid to do something, it's a signal that I have to do it.
Mm.
Growth is on the other side. So I've been asked to like build a course and for, companies around the work that I do. And at
Mm-hmm.
first I'd be like, oh no, they must think I'm better than I am. The whole imposter syndrome steps in. But
Yeah.
I realized to myself, I, my negative self-talk is the thing that's keeping me down. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to push forward through this because I will be that on the other side. So if I'm afraid to do something, the moment I step in, I will be the person who can do it and does do it.
Mm.
So I use that fear. I harness
Yes.
it and I move forward anyway.
Mm. And then you end up to live in a way that I observed in your profile, living bigger, better, and braver. And you like the bees.
Well, yeah,
uh,
it together well. Yeah.
yes, so you live. Why should I? Why, or the person who's listening or watching? Why should he choose to live bigger and better?
I think that there's no point in living a small life. Like
Mm-hmm.
what, we all are made to grow. I have a growth mindset. I am always taking courses. I am always trying new things. I always want, so by better, it's not about like having more things. It's about you're on your soul's journey. You were put on this earth to do certain things and be as big as you can be, to not let
Mm-hmm.
fear hold you back, to not let anything hold you back. And that's to be bigger and better, you have to be braver.
Mm. Be braver, be bigger, be better, and be braver. Now, in working with clients, if you may be willing to tell us, which has been one of your biggest challenges? Like you faced someone that you had to work with and you faced a challenge. What was it?
The hardest clients to work with are the ones that either somebody recommended that they do the work, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
actually think that they have an issue. So they're in such resistance and denial that it's hard to break through. People who really can't get out of their own way and are self-sabotagers and are procrastinators are also hard to work with unless they come ready to change. See, the beauty of a coach is that we become your accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
We hold you accountable before you're ready to hold yourself accountable. So I don't mind if my clients show up every week doing the action steps just because they don't want to show up and have me say, why did you not do that? I hold people really accountable. I won't work with people who come week after week not doing what they say they will. What's the point? I don't want to just take your money. It has to feel good for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had very few clients that come to me that aren't really willing to do the work. But if they're not willing to do the work, I can't keep them and they're not fun to work with. And I'm not doing anything. And it doesn't feel good for me to take somebody's money where I'm not seeing something happening.
And that's interesting. Someone comes to you with a desire to change, but then the person is not willing to change.
Yeah.
That's I can imagine what kind of a challenge that is, and I come and um, I know that it is also a challenge to for me myself to identify those fears as we've talked. And when you talk to the people who come up with a challenge and then you identify their shadow beliefs, do you have people who say no, that's not me? You that's not
No,
you.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. No,
Uh-huh.
because I work not in people's heads, but in their heart, and I
Okay.
take them through a process of asking them questions to identify events and feelings and what they made it mean about them. So the beliefs that they're coming up with are coming from their own heart.
Mm-hmm.
They they're true. They're
Mm-hmm.
more aha moments than anything else. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that's what I thought, but it makes so much sense." And now they don't have to keep it. You know, we all have wounded children, right? In
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, our inner child is
Mm-hmm.
wounded. And then we have our adaptive child, and that's the child who learned to adapt. They
Yeah.
adapted from a horrible parent or poverty or an alcoholic person or sexual abuse or verbal abuse. Whatever it is, they adapted from. And that adaptive child is the child who has learned to survive. So you have to be grateful for that child. That child made the changes it needed. It kept quiet, it kept safe, it was the perfect person, all those things it needed to do to be safe. But now, as an adult, that adaptive child is running the show and not the wise adult, the brain, the wise adult of who you are today. So you need
Mm-hmm.
to unravel all of that so you can stay in your wise adult. You can recognize when you're an adaptive child instead, and you can do what you need to do to stay in the wise adult. And that takes those tools. It takes somebody to help you learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you've written a book. What is its title so that someone who's listening may go and search for it?
What's my book about?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
and the title
it's
and
oh, so the
what does
title
it
is
contain?
Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer
Yeah.
Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. And it's a step-by-step guide how to move forward, how to get unstuck, how to uncover your shadow beliefs, your unconscious commitments. And it's for people who may not be able to afford a coach, aren't ready for a coach. And this is the first step in. And if you want to buy the book and partner with somebody else so that you're each other's accountability partners, you can work your way through the book and you can make the jump and make the changes that you want to make. So there's all
Hmm.
kinds of processes and exercises and centerings and teachings in the book using my life and my clients as examples on how to do it and what those beliefs look like and sound like and how to move beyond them.
Okay, thank you. And we'll get to share the link to your website by the time that we are coming to the end. But I would like to know, you've given your example already of your fear of being alone. Is there another shadow belief that you like to share with us that you've experienced through your growing up?
Oh, of my own shadow belief or other people's.
Well, even of
Well,
other people, yeah.
I will tell you, I had another one, which was love and life means struggling with weight. So I'm not heavy, but I've always been conscious. Like I always want to lose 5 pounds, same 5 pounds. I lose it, I gain it, I lose it, I gain it. And I grew up with a mother who was always on a diet and always had a little weight to lose. And so it's not like she said something to me, but I saw it. I grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so unconsciously, I also believed that I always needed to struggle. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
either on a diet or over exercising or overeating or under eating or starving myself. And all of that came from that belief that love and life means struggling with weight.
Hmm. And now that you mentioned that, I thought, how do you tackle that idea that, no, because you say that I don't have to struggle, and many of us know that I have to, or that does not translate to the struggles, to the challenges, the efforts we make on a daily basis to live bigger, better and braver?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What's the question?
The question I'm asking is that um, does it is that believing that I have to struggle to be a better person, to be a braver person, I don't have is or does it not translate to struggling that effort that I make on a daily basis?
Well, you don't need to struggle,
Uh-huh.
it would be much better that we just accepted ourselves the way we are or lived more in balance. If you live more in balance, you never have to struggle.
Yeah.
So for me, uncovering that belief just gave me a little bit of ease, like, oh, you're right. I don't have to starve myself and then binge. Let me just learn to, number one, be more accepting of how I am because, self-worth, self-esteem is holding yourself in warm regard,
Mm-hmm.
even though, I hold myself in warm regard, even though I'd like to be 3 pounds thinner. I hold myself in warm regard, even though I don't have the job I want or the partner I want. We have to recognize that we are worthy just because we're on this earth and we breathe.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to, we're not worthy because of anything. We're worthy because we exist. And we
Mm-hmm.
hold ourselves in warm regard just because we're here on this earth and we are deserving. And then when you can settle into that belief, you can let go of struggle.
Mm. Okay. And how about living a balanced life? Because you mentioned something like that somewhere in the middle. Living a balanced life. How do I live a balanced life?
Well, you have to get out of autopilot so you can
Okay.
see where you are out of balance
Uh-huh.
and just start questioning yourself. What do I want? What do I need? Where am I in overwhelm? Where am I in guilt? Where am I in frustration? Because those are signs that you're out of sync, that you are stepping over some boundaries that you need to be setting for
Okay.
yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, where am I in overwhelm? I'm in overwhelm because I'm not getting home from work until 9 o'clock at night and I haven't seen my kids or I haven't done this or that. You have to like check out, ask yourself those questions. And so
Mm-hmm.
see where you're out of balance and then what can you do? And that's, I mean, again, I'm not trying to just sell being a coach, but that's what coaches do. We
Yeah.
help you make yourself a priority, see where you're out of balance, and help you come up with ways to be in balance.
Mm-hmm.
People come to me because they want to lose weight or they want a different job or they want to get in a relationship or they want to get out of a relationship or they've been single their whole life and now they're ready. They want a child but they don't have a partner and the clock is running and they
Mm-hmm.
come to you for they finally wake up to the fact that they're not in balance.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing with us. And you've been a great guest and shared with us some great insights. And now you say people come to you, but how do they come to you? How can they find you if they
They
want
can
to find?
find me, first of all, I'm all over social media. So Nancy
Okay.
Pickard Life Coach on social media, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. My website is nancypickardlifecoach.com right there. I do a free call for anybody who wants to see if this would be something that would be valuable for them. There's links to my books. There's links to all my podcasts, my blogs, all my different coaching modalities. Everything is on my website. It's a one-stop go-to.
Hmm. Yeah, so for those who are listening or those who are watching, their website is www.nancypickardlifecoach.com. Go there and connect with Nancy and yeah, know about your shadow beliefs and your unconscious commitments that you have, and she will help you to get over them, to overcome them, or work through them. And now we are almost coming to the end of this episode. But before we go, we'd like you to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. This is your time, Nancy.
Mm. Okay, so to live bigger, better, braver, you have to step outside your comfort zone. And remember that the last person in the race still beats the person on the couch. So get off and start moving.
Wow, that's a cool one. The last person on the race still beats the person on the couch. Wow, thank you. Those are beautiful words to always remember. And we really thank you for that. We also thank all of you, the viewers, the listeners, and those who get to listen to this after we are through with it. We thank you for your time. And once again, remember to share it with your friends. Remember to go and connect with Nancy and get to know your shadow beliefs and unconscious commitments. And that's about it. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yes. And I've been your host, Anthony Verore. And together with Nancy, we're saying bye for now. Bye.
Bye bye.